Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today I want to talk to you all about the, new announcement that we're going to be voting on our tier sets for each spec in Season 4 being fated for a Dragonflight. Now, AF, Demo Destro, S1, S2, S3, there's been a lot of variations, a lot of, disparity between the power levels of each bonus with each spec and all that. We're also voting on the appearance being S1, S2, S3. So today, I want to review all the different bonuses from each tier, talk about the interactions, both new and old, which one's my favorite, maybe the best, and just go from there. Like always, course add-ons down below if you want them. Links to Twitch and Discord were all for free for you guys. All that being said, let's get right on into it. Alrighty, so for those that haven't seen it earlier, Blizzard announced the fact that we're going to be voting on our tier set bonuses for Season 4 for Affliction, Demonology, Destruction. That extends to every class in the game, respect, but this is mostly Warlock stuff. And that means that when it comes to certain tier bonuses, some were well-liked, well-received, some were as much, and some were sort of like generic, but not like necessarily in a bad way. So I want to look at AF, Demo Destro in Vault, Avarice, and Myrdrasil, give thoughts on it, and I guess just tell you what I think is probably the best outcome overall. Now, there are indeed, if you vote, there are indeed results being shown here. I'll vote for what I already voted, but I undid my votes. I'll vote again. It's fine. We'll look at the results. I'll tell you if I think they're good or bad and all of that. But the big thing I want to drive home here is that Blizzard said, number one, they're going to tweak and tune tier sets based around, they're going to tune them again. So if one is very strong, don't necessarily vote for that one being too OP because they're going to tune it. I'm focusing more on gameplay, what makes the spec feel better, exciting, and all of that. Also keeping in mind damage profiles, Mythic Plus, and rating. I mean, there's a bit of multiple avenues you should, things you should look at here if you're voting on this stuff, right? Either way, so let's start off with, let's go Demo's fine, right? So when it comes to Vault of the Incarnates, Demonology was an interesting spot. Now, for Vault of the Incarnates, most of the tier bonuses for every spec in the game were pretty generic. It was like, X is increased by 20%, and a 4-piece is like, yeah, maybe something procs here and there. Nothing too crazy. The first tier with new talent trees, all that, probably didn't want to go too in-depth in that kind of stuff. Gives you a tier to learn the talents and all that. It sort of shows here. Demo's 2-piece from Vault was Demon Bolt and Thelstorm increased by 20%. That did indeed also increase demonic strength. In the 4 set, Demon Bolt has a chance to make your next Hand of Gul'dan instant and deal 150% increased damage. The 4-piece was buffed a bunch, I believe from like 50% when it first came out a good bit. Out of all three, this is my least favorite, honestly. The 2-piece is actually really strong. The Fellstorm increased his strength. Everything was very, very strong. I believe it might have even been nerfed a bit. Maybe it was just baseline strength that got nerfed. Either way, the 4-piece felt fine. It was good for mobility and things, and it sort of grew on me. But it wasn't anywhere near as exciting as, say, the Avarice bonus, which was, the Grimoire Felgar reduction, which synced with your Tyrant, and the basically making your Grimoire another Tyrant, right? Now, they did indeed nerf this bonus. They made the reduction per Demon Bolt cast at 0.5 seconds down from 1. I believe like a week before 10.2 hit to not make you have to wear your old 2-piece in the raid. Syncing Grimoire Felguard with Tyrant obviously makes the spec feel much, much better instead of having this weird 2-minute Grimoire, minute-and-a-half Tyrant, all this stuff. Even right now, we're holding Tyrant for Grimoire because of the weird, version demon that we have. And also the Grimoire empowering your other pets, empowering your Pit Lord and your Tyrant for Tyranny and things, obviously make things pretty strong. Now, one big thing about this bonus is that Demonology has changed a lot since then. Pit Lord Portal is not good at all. Ring of Tyrants that even being played. We're basically playing a naked Tyrant build here. So a lot of the power that we had in Avarice when you were playing this bonus, you had your 4-piece, you popped your Grimoire with your CDs, right? So you had tier bonus, but you also had Class Trinket, you had Iridius Fragments, you had Power Infusion, you had maybe Bloodlust and things like that. You had just a bunch of stacked scaling damage effects all pooled in the one window. Portal, Pit Lord, all being popped at once, and the 4-piece made it even stronger by increasing all your pet damage, which was amplified by PIs and potions and bloodlusts and other effects, and augs and all that, right? So this bonus, from a gameplay point of view, syncs Grimoire or Tyrant. I think it feels good, makes your CDs feel a lot better if they make Tyrant relevant again in a minute and a half. The 4-piece is cool, and it would likely, I would assume, shift us back towards playing probably Ring of Tyranny. But I'm not going to run Sims here because it might all change. But I think gameplay-wise, this bonus for their core Demon rotation feels the best. So I like this bonus more than Bolt, obviously. Now, the one we have now currently, We know it. Demonic Core, instant casting Bolt applies a Doom Brand to a mob. When it explodes, you have a chance of summoning a Doom Guard that can volley things or do damage in a single target. This bonus is applicable in single target, applicable in AoE. It's strong in Mythic Plus. It does a good portion of your damage, 15 to 20%, depending on the key and the pulls and things, if you weave your bolts properly. Also not bad in single target. A bit of like gameplay with juggling Doom Brands and watching your core count and everything else, but it's not bad. It's good. It's good in Plus. Some don't like it because it's hard to manage. Well, hard being relative, but like, you know, annoying to manage, I guess, in Plus, I should say, to some people. But overall, it is a decent bit of our damage in Plus, and without it, we'd still be good, but it wouldn't be as good as we are. So when it comes to Demonology, I am sort of split between Aberrus and Mirdasil. I think in Mirdasil, I like the way that the Aberrus tier bonus changes gameplay more with your Grimoire Sync, empowering your pets, all that stuff, right? It feels more like Demo in a sense, but at the same time, the one from the current raid tier giving you Demon Bolts and everything else also feels Demonology-esque. You summon a Doom Guard, there's Doom Brands, it's sort of Doom-esque, and this bonus definitely works better in Mythic Plus, with Doom Brand exploding, all that, and there's sort of a skill ceiling in a sense of like, you know, if you leverage it very well, you're rewarded, right? So initially I voted for Season 2, being Aberrus. I am split on it. I clicked 3 and I voted for 3. You can see here, 3 is ahead by a substantial margin. I think in the long run, if you want Demon to be relevant in Plus and maintain its value in things, S3 is likely the better vote. If you're looking to play it more in S4, tuning can happen, all that stuff. And yes, S2 Grimoire Felguard Sync would help if they buff it back to being a second, which they probably would. But either way, I think for the overall, like, the overall best bonus, looking at Mythic Plus, rating, overall applicability, is likely S3, Doom Brand. With the state of Warlock, not playing Ring of Tyranny, not playing Pit Lord, not playing Portal, maybe not even having a Radius Fragment around, who knows what's going to happen next patch. But at the same time, Aberrus has a lot of potential, and I wouldn't fault somebody who are playing Aberrus or wanting to play it and voting for it if they wanted to. But currently, Doom Brand is ahead by a significant margin. Now, when it comes to Affliction, things are interesting here. So you've got Affliction being relatively bland when it comes to season 1, right? The 2-piece, when Agony gives you a soul shard, you have a chance to gain Cruel Inspiration, increasing your haste by 12%. And the 4-piece, whenever you gain the 2-piece, grants 2 charges of Cruel Epiphany up to 5. Each charge increases the damage of next Rapture or Seed by 40%, similar to our current bonus now, giving you a damage amp to Rapture and Seed, less than the current one, but still, you know, higher stat count, right? Now, the difference between current tier being Soul Rot tier and this one here in Vault. Soul Rot tier, you can cast every half a minute to a minute. You can control when you cast your Soul Rot, you control the effects. It buffs 3 seeds or 3 raptures, not up to 5. It's controlled procs, or I guess controlled stacks versus RNG on the Scalesworn Vault set. Now, there was a bug with this in S1 where it would not affect all your seeds, only 1. Hopefully it's fixed. The same bug was a thing for the current set. In 10.2 PTR, but it was fixed. It works properly now in retail. So if this does win, hopefully that's addressed. But I think it's a fine bonus. I think it's sort of bland, I would say, compared to like S2 or S3. But I don't think it's bad. It's fine. It gives you a haste proc and increases Rapture and Seed damage. If you high-end roll, you know, like multiple Epiphany stacks and all that stuff, hey, great. You're going to have a lot more. It's RNG in a sense. Not great, not terrible. It's fine. Sort of indifferent to it, right? When it comes to Aberrus, Vile Taint, PS, cooldown reduction, and also that damage increase on both of them, which was fine. It really didn't make a difference. Vile Taint wasn't short enough to like just cast it over and over in AoE without losing agonies. PS reduction felt pretty mediocre as well. The damage increase was fine. The 4-piece giving you Infirmity, the damage increase, it increased the damage of your Raptures in your windows when you cast them here, the dots, which is okay. Dark Lair extension on your Vile Taint and PS felt good also. It made those vulnerable windows a bit more vulnerable. But it was sort of bland to me. Didn't really change the way AF played a whole lot. You still cast Vile Taint or PS, and you still Dark Lair at the same time. You still Raptured at the same time. It's a bit awkward. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but honestly, I'm sort of like, when it comes to S3, my vote is for S3. The one we have now currently. I think being able to cast, like, make Soul Rot is relevant. Obviously, you played it a good bit last patch. You play it now. The damage increase is nice, lasting longer is nice, but being able to control the 3 Umber Fire Kindling stacks you get, giving you a large increase to your Rapture or your next 3 seeds, 3 seeds for Rapture, whatever, gives you a lot of control on a lot of fights. Also, the dot extension helps a bit as well. Having that precise tactical, like, all right, I'm going to pop here and have damage here is nice versus having the RNG of Vault where you have, let's say RNG of getting procs during the vulnerability window or not, right? This is good in plus. You have it every half a minute. You're playing Soul Rot, Dark Harvest, Gluttony, all that. This bonus, it feels like it's changed the way AF plays, even though you're playing Soul Rot a little bit, probably already regardless, but it feels good to play with. I think out of all three, this feels the best, and this brings the strongest overall damage profile comparatively to Vault Tier, which is just sort of, it's fine, but it's RNG, essentially on both, right? And Avarice, which is like cooldown reduction, but in the end, the CDR really didn't matter because you just cast them at will for the most part anyways, right? So when it comes to Affliction, I have voted for S3 because it's already still here, which is fine, and it is ahead currently by about 10%, 12%, give or take, and I assume it'll last. We'll see where it goes, but either way, that's where I'm sitting for Affliction. Now, when it comes to Destro, this is where things get interesting. So for AF and Demonology, there are votes for the bonuses that have affected talents, right? Affected talents like Grimoire, Vile Taint PS, Soul Rot, and all that. Destruction, that was interesting because we have had a tier of Channel Demon Fire with Raging Demon Fire and Avarice, which, this is my opinion, gonna be takes here from everybody. Some people love it, some people hate it. It is what it is. I wasn't a huge fan of CDF. It sort of grew on me, but didn't really like it a whole lot compared to other bonuses in the past. CDF, whether you like it or not, that was the option in Avarice, and then in Mirdasil, it is Dimensional Rift. Now, I like Dimensional Rifts. I think the ability is cool. I don't think it being at this point in the class tree is making a tier bonus based around an N tier, mid tier capstone is much harder to justify than making it around Grimoire or PS or Vile Taint or Soul Rot or CDF, because CDF's here, Grimoire is here for Demo, Vile Taint PS is here for AF, Soul Rot's here for AF as well, but it's like taken sort of already, and like it's not a full-on capstone N-tier capstone, right? Like, but this is a full-on N-tier capstone that realistically played this over it before anyways. Buffs came in and made Rift better in most settings, but still, like, it's restricted to certain builds, because some builds I want to play, Avatar, I want to play Grand Warlocks, but I can't because my tier bonus is built into this capstone here, which in certain settings is not as applicable as I like it to be. I like Rift a lot. I wish Dimensional Rift was sitting here in the class tree. Putting Rift here, putting Embers down here. If that were the case, I'd like the bonus to get a bit more. But either way, so those are the two options there, CDF, Rift, or you have the Vault bonus, which is just straight up, hey, consuming a Soul Shard gives you a chance to gain 10% crit for 10 seconds. And the 4-piece, your crit strikes deal 208% damage instead of 200. So, universally applicable. This works for every spell you cast. I mean, Chaos Ball always crits, but Rain of Fire, if it crits, does more, all that kind of stuff. This works in a single target. It works in AoE. Whenever you consume Soul Shards, if you crit, you do more damage. My vote, personally, when it comes to Destro, has been for Season 1, which is actually ahead by 20%. Now, I'm not saying these are terrible. I didn't love CDF, but hey, some people did, I'm sure, and that's great. At the same time, you're playing Cata Plus now, which would be nice to have that CDF synergy around. I don't know if it would be either way with things changing and buffs and nerfs and all that kind of stuff, right? But either way, with Rift being taken away, but still, would have been cool to have back then if it worked out, but probably wouldn't. And then when it comes to Rifts, again, like, I like Rifts, they're cool, but it feels a bit restrictive, being an N-tier capstone and all that. In the end, like, I mean, I wouldn't mind having straight up baseline Destro. I consume a shard to get a crit proc, and in the end, if I crit harder. I think that's likely the best way to take Destro. You can go back to playing your 2-minute build with, Crashing Chaos and Grand Warlocks and Plus. You can go back to like something like this instead. You can just rock this, and you can go, through here, bang, bang, do what you want to do this. You can pull this and put this here, whatever. Like, you can make it work. You're not forcing the Rift to enable your 2-piece and your 4-piece in every kind of content, right? So, that's that. Once again, when it comes to Demonology, it's sort of the same, whatever you want. I voted for 2 in the past. I probably shift towards 3 here because honestly, it's probably the most universally applicable. But either way, got to see where tuning goes with all these because they very well might end up tuning things a bunch. If they do, well, things could very well change. When it comes to the Warlock set looks and all that, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what to vote for. I like how vibrant S1 and S2 is here compared to S3. I like the design though. the most, likely of S3. Like, these two feel more Warlocky to me than this does necessarily. So still sort of looks like a Warlock. This could be like a mage, like a shaman too, in a sense, I feel like, right? These look like Warlock sets for sure. I like them all. I voted for S3, and then S2 would be second, but apparently S1 is ahead by a little bit. Actually, it was ahead earlier. Now it's S2, but still S3 is, you know, lagging behind. So we'll see where it goes. Those are my thoughts on them, though. And yeah, let me know what y'all's are. Thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up like always. Hopefully it answers the questions you might have had about, like, I guess old tier bonuses. I forgot what half of them were from Vault, and even some in Aberrus. My mind is going. I'm not really sure, but I think it's cool that they're having us vote on what we want next patch. I think in the long run, the best course of action would just be to say, hey, yo, every tier is open. They're all gonna be like, you scaled up, play whatever you want. But that takes a tremendous amount of tuning. With it being, I think there's 13 classes in the game, just even 12 classes, 36 specs roughly, give or take. It's like, if you had every tier in there, you're looking at like over 100 tier sets of tune. If you're looking at every class, every spec for every raid, it's just too much, man. I think voting on the best one, the one you guys like the most is, I guess we like the most, is the best. Every class and spec across the board. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it lands. Honestly, like, as long as we don't get CDF or Rift for Destro, with Rift staying where it's at in the tree and stuff, I'm okay with whatever else happens with Demo and AF. But at the same time, for somebody love CDF, people love Rift. And that's the cool thing. Everybody can vote on what they want. And that's it, you know? So let me know down below what you guys think. I guess this how this works. Like, I'm down for the voting, but I am curious to see if anybody gets trolled a little bit with some votes here and there. I know BM Hunter is already losing it earlier about something being too close comparatively to what they had this season, but you know, we'll see where it goes. So, like always, week course add-ons, links to Twitch and Discord down below if you want them. They're all for free for you guys. At the same time, if we're in the video, like always, a huge shout out to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Thank you a million times, guys. I really appreciate it. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing for you guys and all that. And I just really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting, there should be a link up here as well as down below in the video description. Like I said, my end hopes are that we get Season 1 Destro tier set, just baseline crit proc increase whenever you consume shards, and a baseline crit damage increase. Demo, I like S2 more for like the rotational changes that it brings for Grimoire, but in the end, that could just be a talent. Maybe 11.0, we'll see. But I think S3, looking at the raw power of what S2 might have, with Tyrant being nerfed and Pit Lord being nerfed and all that being nerfed, no Reign of Tyranny, it probably is the best bet to have an S3 vote, honestly, just looking at raw power, whether you like it or not, just what it is what it is. And then when it comes to AF, honestly, I'm just down for S3 as well. I'm not against S2 for Demo either, but I think it just takes some retooling for it to be good with, you know, Pit Lord and things being dead. I don't want to play Pit Lord again. Yeah, AF with Soul Rot, Seed Spam, Rapture buffs, all that, you know, what's not to love. So, yeah, let's see where it goes. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.